All right, welcome back to the American Dream. I love business stories, I love the entrepreneurial journey, and I love people that just come up with great ideas. We got all that combined into one. I don't even know how to explain it. Daniel Kosh, you're the Chief Growth Officer with Biz X. You and I were chatting before we came in. I was like, you know what? Dude, I'm tossing you a beach ball because it's really cool. So you've developed a community amongst businesses and a currency within it. So please, explain this.
Well, that was actually pretty good. I'm going to write that down.
It was lucky.
That was really good.
I was just like, so a little verbal vomit there.
It's good though. No, you're right. It's a community of business owners and a currency that they all use. Ultimately, what BizX is it's exactly what you said, a community of thousands of business owners. So we have just about 6,700 now participating.
Okay.
And what they do is they're able to find each other, leverage each other's strengths, learn from each other, but most importantly, they are able to buy and sell amongst each other with a digital currency that's called BizX dollars.
Okay, so clue in here. This is where it's about to get really interesting.
Yeah.
Putting you on the spot, will you pull out that card again?
Yeah.
Like, don't knock off your microphone as we're doing the interview. But so they got a card that is a card that can be used
at any of these vendors.
Right. So give me an example.
Yeah, so
give us a real life example.
So the rooting of our concept is we're looking to reinvent transactions and potential for small, medium-sized businesses. And what we did is we looked at barter, which was the original form of commerce.
Sure.
And we said, how do we
trading?
I have this, you have that, we
for
trade.
A sheepskin or whatever, right? Like old school.
Well, that's right. And it was the original form of commerce that was usurped by currency for one reason, which is that it's liquid.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have how much grain is worth how many chickens.
Sure.
And what if you don't need chickens? Then, or whatever.
Right.
So
but I get the concept.
So what we did, our vendors, they buy and sell amongst each other with this currency that they all accept. One way that they're able to buy is with this, through the app, through the website. But here's a real life example. If I'm, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. If I'm a restaurant and you're a painter, and I need to get my place touched up, it's going to cost me $2,000, whatever the case may be. As a business owner, and cash is always scarce to a local business owner, I'm going to try to find someone to trade with me. And this is outside of BizX. So I'm going to call you up and I'm going to say, Craig, this is a $2,000 job. I know that through historical. Can I give you a $2,000 tab? And if you at the restaurant, and if you like my food and you've got the spare time, great deal. But all of those coincidences rarely line up. So in our world, what would happen is, so I'm a BizX, I become a BizX member. I'm a restaurant owner. We've got 6,700 members who all have BizX dollars. So just by joining, I will earn BizX dollars through new customers that I haven't gotten because they can come and eat and not spend any cash. So there's a motivator there.
Okay.
Now I accrue a balance. So say people come in and eat lunch, they pay me $100 BizX, the check comes, they put this down, they pay gratuity in cash. Now I've got 100 BizX that came from a table that otherwise would have been empty. Something breaks in my bathroom, like a sink is leaky. So instead of going to Google to find a handyman, I go to BizX, to the network, and I find a handyman. I call him up, I say, hey Craig, you're the handyman in this scenario.
Okay.
Craig, this is Dan, I found you in BizX. I got a problem my sink is leaking. Can you come by and fix it? You say, yes, I can be by tomorrow at 11. So you come by, you do the job, and I pay, just say it's $100.
Sure.
I pay you 100 BizX. You, by definition, you only got that call because you were willing to accept the BizX.
Right, you accepted.
That's why you got it.
You got the credit.
So in other words, you turned wasted time into value.
Okay, so you basically open up new channels of opportunity.
Then you spend that.
So that right there, 'cause my next question was going to be, what's the advantage? I think that's it, right? Is the fact that by being in this community, you're opening yourself up to business you wouldn't have had?
You get new customers you wouldn't have had otherwise, and they pay you in a network currency that's equal to the dollar. And then you spend those right back in the network, so it's new customers, but then you improve your cash flow. Because when I served those 2 new customers who were eating at my restaurant, and I accrued a balance, great, new customers. When I spent that on you, where I otherwise would have had to pull a $100 bill out of my register, I improved my cash flow.
A lot of this cryptocurrency that people are talking about, it's so hard for them to, it's not a tangible thing. People just don't understand it. And by the way, by people, I mean like me, right? It's a complicated thing. What I think is really interesting about this is you're building relationships, right? You're building a network, a community, and a real life interaction that wouldn't have been there before if you hadn't created this community of like credit.
You got it.
Currency.
You nailed it. You nailed it. So the value of the network itself, beyond the transactional, financial, very material value, value purely of the network is massive. I mean, networks have changed the way we live, right?
Sure.
Networks have shrunken the world.
I mean, that's what social media is.
No question. And so for us, our big why ultimately is to be a resource, really the resource for small and medium-sized business owners who are fighting for their lives. So small and medium-sized business owners represent over 99% of all businesses in the United States of America. And they deliver a third of the total GDP, roughly $7 trillion. And they waste $2 trillion worth of capacity. They have available for sale that goes unsold. And so, and it's hard to support this group.
So like the painter who has extra paint.
No question, yeah. The empty table at the restaurant, the unsold ad pages, the empty hotel room, the stall at the auto mechanic that's just empty.
Sure.
And so, we look at this and we say, well, how do we support this group? And it's really through those two things, which is how to help them leverage their spare capacity to earn additional revenue and use that revenue to offset
and tap into new sources of commerce they would have never had.
Exactly.
I think it's fascinating.
So we've got these 6,700 members. Last year they transacted $100 million between each other in the network, all just like we've talked about.
$100 million.
Yeah, all that wouldn't have existed otherwise.
How do people find out about you? I'm assuming that a good person to reach out to would be someone who owns a business, right?
Yeah, so it's all business owners, and it's a B2B network. So the proportion of each industry vertical to the total network is relative to what businesses demand. So media is our number one industry.
Okay.
Because it's ubiquitous, all businesses can use it, and small and medium-sized business owners sometimes don't think they have the resources to get it.
Sure.
To advertise, right?
Got it, yeah.
So each of these networks and business owners go to our website. It's bizx.com. It's free to join, free to be a part of it. We charge transaction fees, so a small fee on every dollar transacted.
That's how you make your money.
That's how we make our money, but it's free to be a part of it outside of that. But our members, actually, to answer your question directly, BizX has grown because our members have grown it. Because there's inherent value that increases the more members that join.
Sure.
So members reach out and they refer each other, and yeah, that's how.
Love it. Daniel Kosh, Chief Growth Officer with BizX, bizx.com. I think it's a great story. I'm going to be really interested to watch your journey over the next 6, 12, 18 months. But you're in this world now that the game's changed.
Yeah.
The game's changed, and you guys are tapping into it. I think it's fascinating. Daniel, thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
All right, more of the American Dream coming up next.